Yeah, so for me, there are a couple of things that I'm looking at. I would be looking at this area right here. So this is kind of a major, remember, this was your pivot low of 2021 before the second move up. So that's going to be really a lot of resistance. You have this level that we broke down on. So if we got back above this and held above 40,000, then I think you have to say the next run is probably in place for 100,000.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. This week being packed with news and events that can affect the markets, pro trader Gareth Soloway joined the Crypto Factor podcast to discuss what's going on in the crypto space and some chart analysis. Gareth believes the latest run on Bitcoin is still a bear market rally, and he is looking to start shorting his Bitcoin position anytime soon. However, in the long run, Gareth is watching the $40,000 level on Bitcoin for a possible run up to $100,000. Let's listen to what Gareth has to say about the upcoming events and how he feels the markets will react in the short term. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
Yeah, so this is a huge week for markets overall, right? Like you said, Fed meeting on Wednesday. Thursday, we have Apple, Google, and Amazon all reporting earnings after the bell. And then Friday, we have the jobs data. So, I mean, this is one of those crazy weeks where it's going to get wild. The Fed decision is, needless to say, the most important one. They're going to raise by 25 basis points. That's not in question. It's all about what the commentary is going forward. People essentially are taking profits right now. We've had a big run up in the equity markets, in the stock market, in crypto, and people are saying, wait, listen, I'm up X amount. Why don't I take some off the table? Because you have all these unforeseen possible negatives out there. So I think the big question is watch what happens into Wednesday. If we rally back up, then I'd be bearish going into this. I agree. I think your next stop is right here. You have this pivot low right here and this pivot high. So that's right around 25,000. So that would be, if we continue up, that would be your resistance point. I ultimately am still in the camp that the lows are not in on the crypto market. So I would be kind of in the camp of saying that at some point we will see a big rollover again. Yeah, I mean, between these pivot lows over here, all this here, and then all this sideways chop right here, all of that is just so much major resistance. That will be an epically big resistance level for Bitcoin. So for me, there are a couple of things that I'm looking at. I would be looking at this area right here. So this is kind of a major, remember, this was your pivot low of 2021 before the second move up. So that's going to be really a lot of resistance. You have this level that we broke down on. So if we got back above this and held above 40,000, then I think you have to say the next run is probably in place for 100,000. And I think 100,000 to me is your next spot. And one of the things I'm looking at here is this trend line right here, right? So wherever this trend line is when Bitcoin gets up there, that to me would be the next resistance of the cycle, right? Connecting these high pivots here.
The Fed did raise interest rates by 25 basis points, and markets started rallying back up after Jerome Powell's dovish comments in which he said that the economy's disinflationary process had started. To be sure, Powell added that it's premature to declare victors against inflation. At the time of writing, Bitcoin is trading back at $23,395 after the small correction at the beginning of the week, and Ethereum is trading at $1,635. The Fear and Greed Index shows the overall sentiment in the market is still of greed, so let's see what is Gareth's prediction for the short term.
You're short-term bearish or mid-term bearish probably, yes?
Yeah, so just to go over kind of how I've positioned myself at this point is I still have a position long in Bitcoin, right? So the target on that is still 25,000 or so, this resistance level. I do have a position on Polkadot as well, DOT USD here. And again, same kind of thing. If it gets up into this range here or this area here, I'm going to unload that. Now, I do have short signals out there. One of them is Solana. Solana, I'm in from about $25.50 on the short side. That's in the money a little bit here. And there's just so many resistance levels on Solana right up here. Avalanche, I put out as a sell short yesterday. And again, we're in the money slightly here off of this resistance area here. And then also Ethereum. I actually think that Ethereum very likely topped out when it topped this pivot here. And again, we're short on Ethereum, slightly in the money as well. So the big question I have, right, is and this is what everyone's been asking, is this a new bullish move in the market? Is there a new bull market on the S&P 500? I personally don't think so. And then the reason why it's not proven yet, and remember, everything we do is chart related, is that so far you have the high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. we haven't made a higher high yet. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a beautiful bear market rally, but it hasn't taken out this pivot high here to tell us that it's anything other than that. And maybe it will on the Fed. We don't know. Maybe later this week it will. Or does it start to roll over? And I eventually think the S&P is coming down to this level down here, and eventually the long-term trend down here. And remember, markets work, and there's some sort of synergy. There's kind of like an equilibrium where when we're above trend for so long, and you can see that above trend, as long as the Fed was printing money, we were always above trend. It makes sense in the very least we have to come back to trend, right? And the trend is right here. I think there's very little downside on the dollar left here in the near term. And I think we're due for a bounce in the dollar, which also, as we know, is a negative for risk assets, right? It's a negative for the stock market. It might be a negative for crypto as well. So it also gives that basis for why I'm starting to nibble on some shorts in the crypto market as well as the stock market. Gold to me is due for a pullback. I mean, this was just a tremendous move to the upside. I am not short gold because I love it in the midterm, and maybe short term it's overdone, might pull back here or here, but I'll be buying on dips. So basically, if I'm lucky enough to get back to around 1800 or 18 and a quarter, I will be loading up again. I did take my profits on my swing gold just because it got so extended. But again, these are shorter term trades where I'll just buy on a pullback then. Take a look at oil here. See what we got there. Yeah, so oil's starting to come back down, and really what we can see here is that you got this little potential bearish pattern. I still am in the camp that we're going to come down to about $65 a barrel on oil probably within the next few months. And it's not that far away now, about $13 away. So I do think that that's going to come down. I think the key catalyst here is we're going to see more and more weakness in the jobs data coming up. We'll see what Friday's obviously says. But I do think that, again, that's going to show that a overall slowdown in the global economy is going to hit the demand curve of oil, and that's going to bring it in.
What's your advice to people buying cryptocurrency right now?
You know, I have Bitcoin slated to bottom this year. Now, again, is that going to be May or June or where not? I mean, we'll find out. Maybe it already bottomed already for all we know. But ultimately, I agree that it is a buy the dip year. It's finally at levels where anything, to be honest, below 20,000 looks interesting. And I think, again, the biggest thing I would say is don't chase it up here. You have limited upside to 25, maybe 30. Just look for pullback. So you don't want to FOMO in. FOMO is like the worst thing. Think about people that FOMO'd in above 60,000 back in 2021. They all got screwed. So think about it. Just buy it on dips. Buy on pullbacks, find your technical levels. Like for me on Bitcoin, a few technical levels to watch would be this. This was the FTX high just before the collapse. We can clearly see that right here, it hit, pulled back, and then broke. So this will be support. Another big level for support would be right in here as well. You have this pivot high and these lows. So you have a few levels where if you're saying, okay, I want to buy, but I don't want to pay up here, look for here. And then if it does get all the way down here, you have double bottom. So XRP, I mean, just looking at the chart, right, we're stuck in this kind of wedge pattern where we haven't broken out yet. You can see we're hovering just underneath that. That's what you want to look for, all right? On a technical basis, this needs to get above this yellow line and stay above. You can see we kind of closed above here and then right back below and then hammer, and dropping. So that to me is the spot. And then same thing on the bottom. You don't want to see it break through this line down here. That would be a big negative.
Ripple and court case. Do you think that's going to be concluded this year?
I mean, I got to imagine that it's wrapped up this year. I mean, it's getting so ridiculous at this point. I don't know if the judge is waiting for, you know, more guidance from the regulators. I'm not really sure what the deal is here, but to be honest, it's getting a little ridiculous. I do think it gets wrapped up this year.
Do you think XRP will win or lose?
Oh man, I'm not sure, to be honest. The one thing I will say is that it's hard to imagine that the banks would sit by and allow XRP to kind of supplant their system that they have in place. To me, that's the biggest hurdle. It's not, I mean, who knows what the judge says? It's more a matter of, do the big boys want to give up that revenue stream that they have from transferring money? I mean, if for some reason the judge does rule in the favor of XRP, you'll see an immediate massive reaction. And I do think that that reaction could easily retest this $2 level up here. I mean, just that alone. I mean, now again, does it pull back off of that? Maybe, but you'll just have that immediate pop in it to the upside, and it could be huge.
Despite the economic conditions and the Fed tightening sucking liquidity out of the market, many analysts are predicting that Bitcoin can get to $100,000 on the next bull run. What do you think of Gareth's 100K prediction for Bitcoin? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, Please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.